always thought that. It's like, tonight's going to be a good night. Has that Black Eyed Peas kind of feel. That's always the kind of feeling like got my friends are with me, and we're going to go out. Let's make it a great night.
Okay.
Who isn't, right?
What's on tap? Brought to you by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. So we take a look at the matchups with the highest point totals this week. Sundays are easy to enjoy when they are full of football and the fridge is filled with beer. These are the games we're locking in on. We're going to start with Ravens-Chargers. Ravens 2.5-point favorites in Los Angeles. The total is a meaty 51 at the moment. Fantasy superstars galore in this one. Obviously, you're starting Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, Derrick Henry. But, Denny, what is your confidence level in Mr. Zay Flowers after a couple quiet back-to-back games?
It's maybe too high, but I will say that the Chargers play two deep safeties coverage at the second highest rate in the NFL, only behind the Vikings. So I think we could see a lot of underneath targets, a lot of short area targets for Zay Flowers here from Lamar Jackson. They've done it before against defenses that play a lot of two high safeties. So he could be kind of like a PPR cheat code. Hopefully he can make something out of those short area targets. But either way, I feel pretty good about him as a wide receiver too.
Yeah, I mean, I get the question, right? I mean, so, back-to-back games with under 40 receiving yards, 4 different games this year with under 8 fantasy points. So when he kills you, he kills you. But yeah. I agree with you, Denny, especially given the fact we got 6 teams out of bye, 2 teams already. So with the Thursday night games out, he comes in at wide receiver 19 for me. In one-score games this year, and we expect this game obviously to be close on Monday night between the Ravens and the Chargers. In one-score games this year, he's got a 28% target share. And he's averaging over 14 fantasy points per game. He's had at least 1 end zone target in 3 of the past 4 games as well. So Flowers, I think, to Denny's point, I think in terms of the matchup as well, going against the Chargers, he's still the number 1 option on this passing offense. And it's Monday night. It's Monday night. I think I think Lamar Jackson's going to have a big game, and so Zay Flowers is going to be a part of that. Hammett wide receiver, actually 16. Actually, it's 16 now that with the Thursday night guys moved out.
Okay, let's jump to Lions. Colts. Lions are 7.5-point favorites in this one. The total is 50.5. This is a massive line that just speaks to the fact that the betting market is treating the Lions as the best team in football. They are the Super Bowl favorites for the first time in NFL history. The Detroit Lions are Super Bowl favorites.
One pride, fur up.
Indeed. And I think a lot of the questions in this game come down, though, to the Colts wide receivers. And we heard Josh Downs about bullying the bully.
Anthony noted the physicality of Detroit. How much do you need to maybe match that physicality that they bring defensively within this offense? You guys have proven your ability to do that.
Yeah, they play physical in the run game and in the pass game. They press a lot, play physical man coverage. So, yeah, we got to bring the tone to them as well. You can't lay down. So, we just got to go out there, play our game. And coach is saying we got to bully the bully. So.
Denny, I know bullying the bully is one of your favorite strategic tactics. How many Colts wide receivers can you start this week, Denny?
You know me so well, Jay. It's what I've been doing my whole life, bullying the bullies. I think you might be able to start Michael Pittman as well as Downs because you have a Detroit defense that profiles as the second most extreme pass funnel in the league, only behind the Ravens. And you have a Colts team that's probably going to be chasing points throughout this game. So I could see, 35, 40 dropbacks for Anthony Richardson. Now, you lose some of those dropbacks to rushing attempts for Richardson, which is good for his fantasy value. But I think, especially with Bipocalypse, Bimageddon, whatever you want to call it, I think Pittman might be in play here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm at wide receiver 35, so I have him as a wide receiver, 4 or low-end wide receiver 3. Yeah, look, he's got 2 games this year with 50 or more receiving yards, 2, right? But to your point, game script should be in his favor. He did get a 29% target share last week with Richardson under center. That's his highest since week 4. I prefer Josh Downs. I have him ranked higher. I have him at 28. He's got 2 games this year, only 2 games this year where he's had fewer than 12 fantasy points. right? 26% target share, leads the Colts. And we saw last week still a connection, even though it was a better connection between him and comeback player of the year, Joe Flacco, there was still a connection between Downs and Anthony Richardson. He's actually scored in each of his last 2 games with A-Rich. So Downs inside my top 30 this week.
Okay, last game for us, Sunday Night Football. Eagles 2.5-point favorites in Los Angeles against the Rams. The total is 49 flat. A wealth of superstars here. Denny, do you think Kyren Williams is still a top 10 play in this tough matchup against an improved Philly defense?
I don't. We talked about this on the Roto World Football Show on Thursday. The return of Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua to this lineup has made the Rams naturally more pass heavy. Kyren Williams is not seeing the insane volume he saw early in the season, and he needs that because he's not an efficient player.
He's not an efficient player, but also what's hurt him really recently is the lack of touchdowns, right? He hasn't scored in 4 straight, and that was after he had scored like in all the games up until that run. So the last 10 Rams touchdowns have all been passing scores as well. But you think about how well that secondary of the Eagles has played. So it feels like positive touchdown regression is coming for Kyren Williams. He's had only 3 games with fewer than 14 fantasy points all season, all in the last 3 weeks. I think he's due. I'm at running back 8. I say Kyren Williams gets into the end zone on Sunday night.
Okay, that'll do it for What's on Tap, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. This Sunday night, that game we talked about, 2 teams battling for playoff positioning when Jalen Hurts and the Eagles fly west for a clash with Matthew Stafford and the Rams. Coverage of the matchup begins at 7 p.m. Eastern, only on NBC and Peacock.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotoWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Roto World fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.